Think it later, right?
Are you like signaling something from outer space, or that's your action?
That's my action.
Oh,
yeah.
I see.
Yeah, for sure. We'll do a quick intro and make sure that's running, and then we're going. Ladies and gentlemen, in my house today, one and only Jesse Reynolds is here.
Woohoo!
Wow.
Hang on, I just lost sound on the left side.
Okay, let me see.
See, now I feel like I'm deaf.
You're having a stroke. Is it okay? Is it working?
No, it's not working.
Left side. Okay. Is it
there
in
we
the
go.
right side?
Yeah,
because mine's working. So
no,
it is
wait.
working.
I just gotta not move.
Yeah, don't move too much. This
Oh, it's okay. I can handle one side. Some people only use one side, so this is fine.
This is true for sure. Some people only have one ear.
All right.
And we're here, and it's so exciting to have you here.
Yes.
For sure. We met, I believe, maybe my second night doing comedy. First time at Yuck Yucks.
Yeah.
Second time ever doing comedy, and obviously you left an impression with your energy.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Well, thanks for having me. I mean, it didn't take much. Former NFLer offers me free wine, invites me to his house. What am I going to say, right?
Wine, right?
Hey-o.
We have Jack Daniels.
No, it's 11 a.m. I don't really need wine right now. Maybe in an hour.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, I mean, you've had great success with Yuck Yucks too. I mean, you've got your own night now, Mark Hatfield.
My own residency. Friday nights.
Look at you go.
Mark Hatfield's Friday night starts October 19th. Every Friday at 7. It's been fantastic, actually.
Yeah, it has.
Standing room only because we got rid of the chairs, but that's my first joke. Thank you. No, but it has been pretty much sold out, full of people, which is
great.
At 7 o'clock, in Ottawa, to get people out on a Friday night is an amazing accomplishment. And it's not because of me, it's because of Yuck Yucks, and it's because of the great comedians that are in this town, for sure.
Yeah, well, Yuck Yucks is amazing. I mean, they helped start my career.
Right.
Howard Wagman.
Right, let's talk about that.
Okay.
I was just, how is this happening? Like, I met this guy, okay, and then it seemed like right away you'd gotten this radio gig that, people go to school to do.
I know, it's crazy.
It was crazy, yeah.
Well, that's exactly what happened. I started doing stand-up, and 3 months later, I won the job on the morning show, which is unheard of. And you know who I have to thank for that is Howard, but also Johnny Carson. Because I'm a theater student and I wasn't getting any auditions after school. Nobody would hire me. Yeah. And I saw an old interview with Johnny, and he said, anybody that wants to get in the business, start doing stand-up. Huh. And I'd always been kind of interested, obsessed with Jerry Seinfeld, Joan Rivers. But I'm like, I read other people's words. Like, I can't do stand-up. But since I couldn't get any jobs, I took his advice, got my 6 minutes together, and...
That's a huge difference, right? Doing acting and doing comedy, because you are, like you said, doing other people's words.
That's
Is something I'm totally not interested in, because I'm so old that at this point I want to get my own things out, right? I don't have time to learn something new and do it.
You're afraid you won't remember the words, is that
it? I have a really good memory. It's why I can do stand-up and why I can do speeches for like an hour and stuff. And it's just, we had James White on the show.
Yeah.
I'm always hesitant to say his name because it's spelled differently. White, Jaym.
Yes. Mentalist.
Mental. Unbelievable guy. And you're doing a show with him next week.
Yes, thank you for plugging that.
Yeah.
September 11th, very lucky date.
Wow.
At Yuck Yucks. Show's at 8:30. Me and James White, so come on out to that. It's only $10, which is like a steal to see him, right?
It is a steal. He's so incredible. He was on this podcast, and I'd never seen him to that point. And then I went to see him at I forget what they call it, like a secret show or whatever in the basement of Kinky, and it was mind-blowing, unbelievable.
A secret show in the basement of a place called Kinky?
Yeah.
What kind of show was that, Mark Hatfield?
Well, that was a great show.
Okay.
And but he explains he doesn't pull any punches. He's not like saying it's a magic. He's a mentalist, right? So he's basically tricking the audience, and he has all these tricks and techniques and stuff to do.
It's so crazy.
So much is memory, right? And after he sort of reinforced the way I sort of remember things, I've been using it, and I had to do I shouldn't lie. I did. Is that a helicopter?
Yeah, it's just the paparazzi flying. They follow me everywhere.
Yeah,
I can't.
wow.
Yeah,
it's a helicopter
just
going over. Yeah, so I had to do. I did this like a corporate video for like a fire protection thing at the World Trade Center.
Yeah.
And the guy says, okay, we're doing it tomorrow. Here you go. I send you your dialogue or whatever you call it, your script.
Okay.
And I'm like, script? I have to do that? And I got there, and he was like, yeah, you have to do this like verbatim. It has to be word for word. You can't like improv or anything. I'm like, I had no idea. I said, give me 10 minutes. And I did what James had told me to do. I said, you visualize symbols and things for words, and whatever comes to your mind, you write it down, you draw the little picture, and you go through and you do it. I did that. I did it a couple times, and it was unbelievable. I had like 4 pages of script that I knew just like that.
Wow.
And it worked. It worked. And it always
Using his technique.
His technique. And it's always based on the way I kind of like visualize things and tried to remember things. But for me, it's always storytelling, right? So, which is an easy thing to remember, because if it's something that happened to you, you just remember what happened to you. And then, you know, as comedy, you have to kind of put it in the right order to get the punchline out. But that just comes with, you know,
practice.
Yeah, practice
makes perfect. You know, I've never seen James in action, so I'm really excited for he has something special planned. He's going to try on me.
That's
turn me straight for a night. I don't know. He's got his work cut out for him.
Give it a shot.
Hey,
you know
never know. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, and it's hard to believe that you couldn't get acting gigs, right? I mean, you look like you're right out of like some teen movie.
I'll take that. Thank you.
Like a werewolf-y kind of vampire movie.
Oh yeah, maybe. Teen Wolf. It's the hair. You know what? It's so funny. When I was left theater school, the teachers were so mean to me, and they told me I was never going to make it as an actor and I should just give up, find something else. And the reason for that was because they said I was too commercial. So kind of like what you just said, they're like, you're not versatile enough.
You're not ugly enough.
Okay, I'll take that.
I shouldn't say ugly enough. You're not ugly. Right?
Well, I looked at them and I was like, I'm versatile. You have no idea, honey. But that's not what they meant. They meant that I wasn't able to like become other people because I was too much my own personality. I left heartbroken, and I was like, they're wrong. I'm going to prove them wrong. But once I started doing stand-up and getting MCing gigs, speaking gigs, I realized that they were right. They had a point. That I was more marketable as myself than as somebody else.
Yeah, you're a very strong character for sure. And that's, I mean, sort of like, if you asked me who was at that first night when I did comedy, I remember you.
Awesome.
You know what I mean? Like, you're a very strong character, right? And you are, which is the key to comedy, is to be yourself, right? A little bit more exaggerated.
Yeah.
And that's how you can actually touch and not literally touch, but have an effect on the crowd, right? Is it's you're portraying yourself, right?
I'm very lucky too that I sort of came out on the scene at a time where the whole LGBT movement is really taking off. So I cut through in a city like Ottawa because it is traditionally conservative, and there hasn't been a big flaming stand-up in a while, other than Kyle Brownrigg. But he's out of the way now.
Yeah, you got rid of him.
Yeah.
Success gets rid of him for sure. Moved to Toronto, and he's doing amazing.
I love him. He's one of my best friends in the biz.
He's also, to me, maybe I don't know enough about him, but I have done a lot of shows with him. So funny. But he seems to be an actor as well, right? Like so dramatic, over the top.
Yeah. Well, and the real him is kind of different than what you get on stage. And I think that's the case for all of us. Yeah. But that's why I always say I'm not really a stand-up comedian. I'm an actor playing a stand-up comedian, or I'm an actor playing a radio host. And that's really how I see myself.
So Ottawa born and raised?
Ottawa born and raised, yep. And then only time I lived elsewhere was for college when I was in Toronto, Humber College.
Okay. So what high school did you go to in Ottawa?
Earl of March, Canada.
That's in Canada.
K-Town.
Okay. How old? You're 20-something?
Yeah, we'll go with that.
Are you more than 20?
I'm 30,
really?
Yeah,
okay.
Right on.
I was going to guess about 28, but that's the same
Pretty
thing.
close.
When you're 40, how old am I? 48. I'm 48, dude. Wow. Can you imagine? That's like, what, 18 years. That's a whole, like, teenager, like...
I can't imagine.
Ahead of you, yeah. It is crazy. So,
Earl of March, loved it.
Yeah, brothers and sisters?
Yes, I have a younger brother. He's 19, so that's getting crazy.
Wow, that's 11 years. That's a big difference.
Oh, wait, we get even crazier. My younger sister is 26, but then I also have an older sister who is 38. So between the youngest and the oldest, there's 20 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Is it the same parents?
Older sister has a different dad. She was sort of a teenage, oops, what happened? Then the three of us have the same parents, but all four have the same mom.
Wow.
Yeah.
Good for her.
Busy mom.
That is busy mom. And she's, well, I say,
super mom.
What did, did she have a job, or her job was?
Her job was being a mom, pretty much.
Kids,
yeah. She was involved with daycare for many years.
It's the hardest job in the world, man.
Being a mom.
Yeah. Being a parent is like, it's like, I don't think I'm even doing it right. I got 3 kids. I have no idea. I'm like, what? You're how old? Oh my gosh. Like, just listen to me. And they don't listen to you. Kids, they don't listen to you. They watch you, and they kind of, so now I have to like be a responsible human being. Which is
that's the worst.
Not in my,
And everything's
realm.
why when they're young, always pulling on me. Lady, I'm a boy. Stop. Yeah.
Lady. That's good. And your dad, what's he do? What do you do?
He's not in the picture. He, when I was 13, they broke up, but he was sort of not the best dad, drinking and all that. So I don't have a relationship with him anymore.
Okay. And so your mom raised?
Pretty much all of us.
4 kids?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. He wasn't a contributor, so he was around. I mean, I really shouldn't talk about him when he's not in the room to defend himself, but my mom did most of the work.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Wow, that's incredible. And she didn't have a job. How does that even work?
I know, well, child support.
Child support for 4 kids, really? Wow.
It was pretty tight.
Yeah.
Which is, I think, part of the reason why I wanted to go into entertainment, because growing up, you see celebrities and you see famous people, and most of them are rich. And I think I saw that as a quick fix to all my family's problems. If I could get famous, if I could get rich, everything would be okay.
Yeah.
And I'd be able to pay everything.
Yeah. Oops. Made that mistake.
I'm still working on it. I'm still working on it.
That's hilarious. I think we were talking about Scott Thompson before this, and he was talking about he comes from a big family.
Yeah.
And it was always sort of a way of like making yourself known in the family is to say something funny, is to sort of stand out by making jokes of everything.
Uh-huh.
It's also a way of coping with things, right?
For sure.
Like if things aren't going well at home, dad's not around anymore,
Yeah.
you make a joke of it, right? And it
Yeah,
kinda
totally.
makes everything go.
It's really laugh or cry. I think there's so many things in life that are like that, and I choose to laugh. Rather laugh than cry, wouldn't you?
I like a good cry every now and then.
I somehow can't picture that.
Just to start the day, a good weep.
Go on Facebook Live for that next time.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
You get a lot of clicks.
My daily cry.
Yeah.
I feel better. There's there's things where like, people go to do that, right? They scream and do yoga. Or
smash
cry.
dishes.
Smash dishes. The Greeks
Drink.
for sure.
I don't know.
Yeah, but comedy is a coping mechanism.
Oh my
right?
God,
and
yes.
and I talk about my story often. You've probably heard of it about my brother passing away when I was young, and it having a real effect on the whole family. And so I was almost, in my mind, handling it by myself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I'm sure I wasn't. If I look back, my parents were always there for me, my sister and everybody around me. But to me, the only way of coping with it and handling it was after a while was to sort of make jokes when things got uncomfortable, because it was a time before the internet, and you'd run into someone a year later and they go, hey, how's your brother doing? Because my brother was one of these great guys that everybody knew, and then to handle it, like my first thing I remember saying was, he's dead. And people making another joke, thinking, oh yeah, blah, whatever, because and then just the way of coping was to make jokes of things and just to keep going.
And if they probably thought if you're saying something as like black and white as he's dead, they're like, oh, haha, he's okay to joke about it.
Right, exactly. And then I couldn't even talk about it, right, until I started doing speeches about it, and I started talking about it in this sort of environment. And it's the way I coped with things. And as I meet all these other comedians and people who get on stage and entertain, it's the same thing. That was their way of their therapy, is to make a joke and to whatever it be, play a guitar or anything.
And most of us come from some kind of dark past or some kind of sadness. And I haven't met a comedian yet that doesn't have some sob story, or I haven't met a person yet that doesn't. I mean, we're all going, what's that saying? We're all fighting a battle other people know nothing about. But with comics in particular, sometimes Scott Thompson, oh my God, the things he's been through, right?
That's a crazy story.
Really crazy. And so's yours. I mean, the part about your story that got me every time I listened to it was when you got signed or when you got the offer from the NFL to the day. Like, how do you, if you have people say you don't believe in the universe or ghosts or any kind of that spiritual stuff, can we swear here? I almost said it.
Yeah.
Wow, I've never been able to swear on the radio before.
Yeah.
But how could you not, like it's crazy.
I love to hear that. I love when people understand what my message is, and it's more than just never give up on things. It's more than find the mistakes, find the bad things, and climb on those and make them your reason why. It's the fact that this is a really strange world that we know nothing about, right? And then for people who don't know the story, a real short version of it is my brother passed away October 30th, 1985.
Happy Halloween.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that was a terrible Halloween, and Halloween has a different meaning for me now.
Wow, I bet.
Because of that. But and it was Dan Marino. We'd watch Dan Marino in the Super Bowl, and we were, brothers. We were like, "You're gonna play in the NFL someday." And he used to say things like that about me all the time, and I was like, "How can that even be possible?" Right? He's like this kid who believed in me so much, right? Like,
and you're thinking, I'm Canadian. Like, how can I even?
Yeah, the NFL is something I see on that little TV in the corner. You know what I mean? It's how could I ever do that? And I mean, I was pretty skinny kid at the time, tall and skinny, and there's no way I can be one of those guys. And when he passed away, I made a promise that I would never stop trying to live that dream that we had set of me making it to the NFL. And I mean, the next 10 years were filled with absolute failure and, not really going, nobody else believing that or thinking it being the furthest thing from anyone, and I would say it from time to time, hesitantly, because I didn't want people to say I couldn't, but people would laugh,
roll their eyes,
roll their eyes, and then as I got closer, I mean, I still wasn't having the kind of success I wanted, but people did kind of give me these little hints, and it's unbelievable what a little kind of word that someone thinks doesn't have any meaning did to me. Like they would say, "Oh, if anyone has the confidence to do it, it would be you." not saying I could do it, but that I maybe was building towards something like that. And that thing I held on. Someone said that to me in university, maybe my third year, and that I held on to that for another like 2 years to keep pushing me. And I went and tried out, through just effort and never giving up. I tried out for the Detroit Lions in '95, and I got cut. And then I came home, and it seemed like I'd gotten as close as I was ever going to get. And the phone rang, and I went at Miami Dolphins, who we'd watched Dan Marino and the Miami Dolphins while we were setting the school. I went and did a workout, and the date was October 30th, 1995, when I signed. It was the same day I got there, same day I signed the contract. And it was 10 years to the day of my brother passing away.
Oh my God, I just got chills again.
That it all happened. And for you to notice that, and that's one of the messages, and I say that, and I go, that's fact I'll let you take home with you and figure out what that means to you.
I mean, it happened. That's not even a...
It happened.
That's... Oh my gosh.
It happened. I can
exciting.
show you the contract. I have the contract, and, it's documented when my brother passed away. And it happened. And to... give, and I don't care about religion or any of that stuff, but just to believe in something greater than that we already know about, right? To put faith in these things and that you can't actually tangibly, touch and see. It just makes sense.
Well, there's so many things that people believe in that we can't touch and see, right? Electricity, Wi-Fi.
Yep.
I mean, it's real. Wind, you can feel it, but you can't see it. You can't really touch it. And so how is stuff like that any different? I don't know.
That's right.
I'm a big believer in all that stuff. And I love Halloween too. How can you not love Halloween?
I love Halloween.
Oh, you do love it?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, good.
Dress in costumes for sure.
It's the one holiday you don't have to spend with family. Come on.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah. And when you have kids, like it takes on a whole new meaning, right? It's all about sugar and candy, but it's also about seeing them get excited, and it's a big build up, and you pay a ridiculous amount of money for a costume they're wearing for 2 hours, and then they go out and they get all this free candy, and it's a wonderful world because the neighbors that they don't even know are all of a sudden looking at them and taking pictures and giving them candy, and they have this unbelievable supply of candy for like 3 weeks.
And in this neighborhood, it looks like they give out the full-size bars. It's a swanky neighborhood, Mark Hatfield.
It is swanky, and it has nothing to do with me. I'm just along for the ride. But it's funny, in a neighborhood like this, people don't really trick or treat, so we actually have to put the kids in the car and go over to the poor neighbor, no, the other neighborhoods, where the houses are closer together. And
wow,
yeah, nobody even comes to our door. For the first 4 or 5 years we lived here, we would have candy, and nobody came. Yeah, 0 people.
Oh gosh.
The neighbor, this is a true story. The neighbor who lives over there, who has an unbelievable what do you call a fancy garden, like a
garden?
Fancy garden.
Fancy garden?
I would see my garden. I have new passion in life.
It has a swing and everything.
Yeah, swing and flowers. But the lady over there, she'll bring the candy over the next day. Yeah, she's like, I know nobody goes trick-or-treating, but we bought you guys candy. And they hope every year we go, and every year we forget. And then the next day she'll bring it over. And she's like in her 90s.
Oh, that's cute.
Beautiful man and women live over there. And they're both in their 90s, and they garden all day.
She's 90 and you make her walk all the way over here to bring you candy.
Of course. Yeah, it's good. It's good for her. It
gives her purpose.
Yeah.
Wow. That's
so
cool.
Humber, you went to Humber, and
yes, I did.
The point of that was
theater performance. That was the program I took. Okay. Amazing, incredible. Looking back, I kind of wish I took the advice of grown-ups in my life at the time who were like, don't take theater, there's no money in theater. And I was like, no way, I'm going to be on Broadway, I'm going to be a star. And I still think that.
Of course.
But after school, I realized they were right that there is no money in theater unless you're on Broadway. So I was forced to go into high tech after school, and almost 10 years of boring jobs I hated, but you got to pay the bills. Yeah. And then the radio gig came through.
So when you take theater at Humber, that means like putting on plays and stuff?
So there's two. There was theater production and theater performance, and you had to audition, and they kind of decided which side you belonged on. Naturally, they decided I was on the performance side. And you had to do crazy classes. Like there was a voice class. We had a yoga class, was like actually part of your curriculum that your parents are paying thousands of dollars for. But very detailed breath work. They teach you how to breathe. So a lot of the skills are transferable to any art, comedy, singing, even sports, probably, about preparation and rehearsing and practicing. Art and sports are very similar in that way.
Absolutely. I always thought that playing football was an art. It was like a martial art to me. It's all about technique. It's all about doing it right. And
talent.
When you get to professional football, it's not necessarily about the outcome anymore. I mean, it still is about the outcome for your performance, but it's about the technique used to do it. Like you're graded in equal parts about success of what you've done on the play and how you did it. So it is a martial art. You have to have your hands in the right spot. You have to have your feet in the right spot. You have to have a proper body position, or you don't get a good grade.
It's timing too. Yeah, timing is everything.
Timing is everything. The assignment is one thing, then the success of the assignment, but using the proper technique, and that to me is art. That's and it is art as so far as it's like a martial art, but it doesn't give the creativity that I thought heading into sports would give me. When you take a thing like basketball, and you watch a basketball player create out in the court with their body, to me that's art. And then when I got to professional football, it was all about do exactly the technique that that works the best. And so it is an art, but it doesn't afford you the creativity that another art would, another sport or art would. Interesting enough for football, I don't know if I've ever heard anyone say that, but I think that all the time. I do remember thinking, I'm not really playing this game anymore so far as I'm having to memorize exactly how to do this. But at the snap of the ball, it has to be reactive, right? So you're doing it over and over. People often think that comedy and stuff is like that too, where you get up there and you just sort of create.
Oh my gosh.
They don't realize that thing that appears to be create is carefully crafted, over time and perfected. There are certain times when you go off script and you do other things, but usually even when you go off script, you've done that thing before, right?
Yeah, even like you have the comment when you ask a question to the audience, you know the answer that you want to give.
That's right.
When I first started doing comedy, I was heartbroken to find out. Well, no, I knew that people didn't, come up with new things each time, but some of my friends were like, I saw her last week and she did the same jokes. And I'm like, yeah, that's how it works.
It's a huge obstacle to overcome, isn't it?
Yeah.
Thinking that even when you're thinking about the other people in the room that are comedians or staff, and to go back the second time and to think, I can't do that same
I know, it's
stuff.
embarrassing a little bit.
It is a bit.
Yeah.
You have to get over that and realize that's what the craft is.
Yeah.
Right? It's perfecting those actual words, right? The making them as short as possible and as effective as possible.
And it doesn't mean it can't be entertaining to people who have seen it before. Think of your favorite movie. You'll watch it a bunch of times. You've seen the same thing.
Right. Same song, for sure. So, evokes the same emotions over. And I've given the same speech at some schools like 4 or 5 times in a day, and I've had the same people come back and watch it over and over, and they say it gives me the same emotions as I go through it again. Right?
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's a great compliment.
The only time I feel guilty is like when I'm promoting shows on Facebook or something, and I'm saying, oh, come see me at Yuck Yucks. You wonder if you should give a disclaimer. Yeah, no new material or new material, because
just lie. Yeah,
just lie. Well, people aren't going to remember your whole set anyway, especially if you're up there 20 minutes.
No, they do not, for sure. It's amazing what you think people are going to remember, right?
It's true.
They don't remember what you say. They remember how you make them feel. So if you made them feel a certain way, then they're going to rush to see you again, and they don't remember. Maybe they may pick up 1 or 2 little spots. They're going to forget. Their brain isn't firing it as fast as you think it is on your material.
Because you've practiced it and written it and changed every little word. I don't know about you, but I find what people tell me they like about my set is always different. Like usually it's not even the punchlines or the jokes, it's a little eye roll I did in between or a little sound I made, and just kills them. So you never know what you're going to get with little nuances like that either.
That's right. 80% of communication is nonverbal, right?
Yeah.
So it's all about those little things, and that's what you learn the more you do, right? The longer you can hold a reaction before and after, like especially I do a lot of crowd work now, and a lot of it is if you listen to the person and you do some sort of a facial expression to what they've done, people find that hilarious.
Yeah.
And it also affords you the opportunity to think of something to say.
Exactly.
Right? Like all these techniques that sort of allow you to be more successful.
It's a very unnatural thing, though, really. If you think about it, get up there and laugh at me. I want to stand up here and make you laugh at me. Like, we're all messed up.
Yeah, I think when I go out to do comedy, I don't have the same struggles as most people do, especially with new people who are like worrying about what they're going to do and all that stuff. To me, it's like, why am I doing this?
Yeah.
Right? Like, what is the actual purpose in the whole spectrum of the world? Does Mark Hatfield really have to get up on that piece of wood and talk to 150 people? And what value? And then I always makes me realize I have to have some sort of value to what I'm saying. Making people laugh is definitely a value, but I also like to have them evoke some sort of emotion, some sort of even makes them think about their life, and then they can forget about it for a while, and then if they can take home something. Coming from motivational speaking, I always think there should be some sort of a take home to every time you're on stage. And Mike McDonald, one of the main things that he said on this podcast is don't get on stage without a message.
Okay.
And that message can be, it's okay to laugh at the end of the day. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That can be the thing. And to him, when I watched him sort of evolve from when I first met him, right after sort of he got back on stage after his transplant to when he passed away in March, there's a huge sort of not an improvement, because I mean he's an amazing guy, but like, you know, he started out and it was clear he was sort of figuring it all out again. You know, I don't know if you know his story, but he had to relearn everything, right? All about comedy.
Speaking of to the day, didn't he die a day? Like, that's weird. So weird.
He passed away. He got his lung transplant
liver
transplant on March 17th, St. Patrick's Day, and he passed away on St. Patrick's Day.
Weird.
5 years later.
So weird.
That is so bizarre, man.
But I know what you mean with the message. Like for me, when I first started, I didn't come right out the gate with, oh, look at me, I'm gay. Like, I mean, you have to be blind not to realize it. But I found that until I addressed it in my set, people were sort of clutching their pearls. Like, am I allowed to laugh at him? Am I, you know, because the whole gay thing. So when I moved some of my gay material right up to the front of my act, then I got them right away. Now they're laughing. Okay, he's addressing it. We can all laugh now. And I don't know if that's my message. It's okay to laugh at minorities, but
I think that's a huge part of it.
Yeah.
I think from just reading the comments after you posted on Facebook and stuff, and there's a lot of people, amazing, right? My gosh. Like that's the, you know, I always in my head badmouth Facebook and Instagram, all this stuff, because it is a terrible thing, but at the same time, there's some really amazing things about it, and those messages telling you and telling me, someone, you know, a casual observer, that the message was so strong. Right? These people, children, people younger than you, older than you, seeing you out there doing that, and something that they couldn't do, right?
Yeah, it's so bittersweet to see the messages now. And whoever said don't read the comments didn't know what they're talking about, because those comments are keeping me going right now. Right. I love them.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
People are worked up.
Yeah, people.
But you're talking about the little boy at Pride who came up to me. I think that's the story you're talking about.
I saw Jen Hayward's
her
son, you know, looks up to you in a certain way.
It's really nice.
It's amazing, and that's your message, right?
Well, yeah, to be yourself, and you know,
yourself.
Sometimes your weaknesses, or what you perceive as your weaknesses, are actually your strengths.
Totally. Yeah, it's amazing
for sure.
Right? Like, and I don't know if you want to talk about actually being gay or whatever, but when I'm, what do we say, 18 years older than you?
Yeah.
And there was like one gay guy in school that said he was gay. Anyway,
well, yeah, there were more, believe me.
There was way more, man. I think I know people who are gay, and I always thought they were gay, and they were my friends, and it was never really discussed or anything, maybe because we were younger than when we started being attracted to girls and dating and this sort of stuff. And I just always thought that is a gay person, whatever.
Right.
And they still live as like a non-gay person.
Oh, see, isn't
Do you
that
know
sad?
people like that?
Well, I mean, we're all suspicious of, you all know someone that you're like,
Yeah.
But I just think that's so sad to hear that, especially this day and age.
Yeah.
But to know that I had any part in helping that young boy come out, or he wasn't young boy, I should say, he was like 19, 20, but at Pride, and he came up to me and said, I just want to thank you.
Yeah.
When I found out my mom was a big fan of your morning show, it gave me the confidence to come out of the closet to her. Because I thought, if she likes you, there's no way she's going to hate me.
That's right. That's incredible, isn't it?
I said, I'll take it.
That gave me the shivers. Like, you know, that must make you.
Oh my gosh, the best
of,
compliment I've ever gotten. I'll never forget it.
That's what it's all about, man.
And then to have my show canceled 2 days later.
I know it's hot.
Could you imagine?
But you know, as we look at these things and we look back, and there's always a reason for everything, and it's. Like, and I said to you when I first contacted you, I want to get you on my podcast before you leave town, because, well, that's a real thing. You're gonna look back at this and go, oh, thank God I got fired. It's hard to believe at the time.
I know.
And I go through all these struggles like everybody else, and something bad happens. I go, I'm a lose. Like, why? How did so unfair? And then you look back and you go, thank God that happened.
I know, it's so funny.
This happened and that happened. You know,
that has been the continuous message I've been getting from Dylan Black, Sandy Sharkey, everybody. A lot of people that have done this podcast have been saying that exact thing to me, and I say, I want to believe that. It's just hard to see the rainbow when you're sitting in the storm.
Yeah,
it's
so hard, and you got to realize you just got to get some time behind you, and when those terrible thoughts pop up in your head, you have to counteract them with some nice, good, positive, or do something completely different. Stay busy.
I'm already very busy. I've been making a lot of connections, and this has only happened just over a week ago. So I know I'm going to be okay. Things are in the works. Mm-hmm. It's just, it's still scary. It's uncertain.
Yeah.
Got to pay my rent.
Yeah, isn't that the whole name of the game, right? You start counting on stuff, and then wait a minute, where did that money go? That is crazy, man.
It was.
Yeah.
But it was a wild ride. Like, I wouldn't change it for the world. I had an amazing 3.5 years there, and it was the best 3.5 years of my life so far.
It's so crazy that it's been 3.5 years. I have at the age I'm at now, I have such a hard time comprehending time. You know what I mean? When you're young, the first 20 years of your life seem to go on forever.
Oh, yeah.
Right? And then the next 20, like where did they go? I don't even know. And then to think that was 3.5 years ago that you were in that contest was mind-blowing to me.
Speeds up, every year.
Like I remember following the journey and thinking, this is so interesting. A guy who just sort of started comedy, and he took that and he parlayed it into like this real life job, right?
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Where you get up just like everybody else who had worked their whole, their whole sort of youth towards it, gone to broadcasting school, and here you have the exact same thing that they have now. And I remember following and listening and going, how is he going to figure out this thing? And you'd figured it out. You'd become a big part of the community.
Oh, some of those stupid tasks they would have us do, weren't they so dumb?
Yeah, I don't remember what you had to do, because to me it was like, oh my gosh, I do remember something.
Oh, it was
crazy.
little hokey pokey, like go around and take as many pictures with Ottawa landmarks as you can.
Yeah,
so you're driving around the city, and we would do it because you want that job, and I wouldn't trade it for the world.
Right, and people did it and didn't get the job.
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
You
like,
know what
so
I mean?
they must feel pretty dumb.
Yeah.
But I mean, they were just trying to milk it for the publicity, and it worked. I mean, I think it was one of the biggest contests that they've ever had.
Yeah, it was
and
good.
Certainly worked out for me.
Yeah, for sure.
But to go back to what we were talking about earlier about stand-up, I don't think if I hadn't been doing stand-up that I would have won the contest. And the general manager and program director at the time told me that a big part of why they picked me to win was from the stand-up that they had seen and how they knew I had the confidence to get up on stage and with no costume, no music, nothing, and be able to entertain a crowd. That gives you the confidence, or gave them the confidence to know that I'd be able to handle a morning show. And that was exactly Johnny Carson's message in that interview, that producers and directors respect stand-ups because you're putting yourself out there like that.
Yeah, it really is the hardest thing to do. You're just standing up there and there's no reason to be talking to these people. There's nothing between you and them.
Who the hell are you?
You're amplifying your voice. Like your voice is even louder than it should be. You know what I mean?
Oh,
and
yeah.
It's such a bizarre thing. And then you have to find a way to capture them and keep them, and then, make them happy, or come back, right?
Yeah.
Like the audience is the real definer of success. If they had a good time, then you'll be back, and if not, then you're out. You're doing something else.
Yeah,
for sure.
And the worst is if you've ever had an audience where there's a couple people you can tell they're just not into you and they're not feeling it. Mm-hmm. And especially with me, because I'm very polarizing. Mm-hmm. So sometimes there's men in the audience with their wives, they're just not having my shtick, right. And you have to keep going even though their face is there like deadpan staring at you like get the hell off the stage.
You know what those guys are? Those guys are gay.
Yeah. Yeah, well, a lot of them.
They're the ones who haven't admitted it. You know? Damn you.
They don't like him. Don't like him.
Yeah. Oh, you do like him. Okay, I got something to tell you when we get home.
Yeah.
But it's an amazing place, Yuck Yucks, and to get up on stage like that. And it's life changing for sure. And people are always, like you say, I come back to this house, and why are you leaving this house to do comedy? Because I got that addiction. You know what I mean? I need it. As a full-grown adult, I need to go out there 2 times a week and get that, whatever it is, the feedback from people. And it's and I don't know, you probably aren't like this, but for me, when I'm around people, they're like, I thought you'd be funnier. You know what I mean? I don't go off, when I get on stage, just sometimes I just can't shut up, blah, 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 and I want to talk to everybody in the crowd. And actually, in this environment, too, I really enjoy conversation, but when I'm not, it's I prefer to listen to people.
Really? So you've had people come up to your face and say, I thought you'd be funnier.
In off the stage, yeah, for sure.
They'd have to have balls to say that to you.
Well, it's usually someone who I know really well.
Oh, okay.
I work as a firefighter or whatever. I'm around people who are always funnier than me. You know what I mean? Always. And that's where I get a lot of good jokes, a lot of good stories. There'll be people around me and it's the ability to take that story, make it into a message that people want to and can understand on stage, right? That's a completely different talent than just being a funny person. Yeah, everyone's like, oh, I got a friend who's funny. And I'm like, wow, look. Get them on stage and talking into a microphone, looking people in the eye who are waiting for jokes and stuff. And
it's the X factor. Not everybody has it. Mm-hmm. You have to, and you can train yourself, I think, to have stage presence and to have a better energy. But you just have to try, and you'll find out pretty quick if it's for you or not.
Yeah, for sure.
Howard will tell you too.
yeah, for sure. I mean, there is something beautiful too about the open mic nights at the clubs.
Oh yeah,
it's because people are out there and they're taking a risk, and it's something that they want to see if they're comfortable with, and they have this, usually they have pretty good material because they've been working on it for years, right?
Yeah.
It's like you say, their delivery and their presence, which isn't there yet. And it's a great place to steal jokes.
Yeah. And see how much they suck, so then you're like, okay, I'm not that bad.
Yeah, for sure.
Because I feel like every comic doubts themselves. Every comic thinks they're terrible.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think we've had some amazing comics on this show, and they talk about the insecurities and how they have to get up on stage, 5 times a week just to keep themselves believing in themselves, right?
I know, that's true. And then if you have a bad show, oh my God, I'm never doing this again. Why would I do this? I'm going to work at McDonald's.
I've wasted so many days of my life on this.
Yeah.
I'm like, how much of the day do you spend thinking about comedy?
Well, now an awful lot because I'm hustling.
That's right.
I need a job.
Yeah.
Normally, see, that was the thing with the morning show is it prevented me from getting out as much as I wanted to because I had to be up at 3:30 in the morning.
Right.
And a lot of shows don't start till 9 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
So Howard was really great. He tried to get me on weekends when he could. And, I'd give 1 or 2 nights a month and just stay up late and do it. But now I'll have a lot more free time, hence the show on Tuesday with James White. Howard, he called me right away and he's like, we got to get you on.
That's great.
Yeah.
He's awesome. Yeah, for sure. He's so good at developing people, and he's been in it so long. He knows it so well, and who to do what to, and everything. And it's all done, to benefit. He realizes that doing things to benefit the people is what's going to make his business more successful, right? So it's a people first thing, and it's just a great environment to be in for sure. I love it. Do you think you're going to be going to like more open mics now? And
yeah, I hope so.
Yeah,
I'm going to sign up. Got to work on new stuff. Like we were saying, I have my tried and true 20 minutes that I've had for the past 3 years, but I want to work on writing more stuff.
Yep.
I've already written a bit more about what's happened here.
Yeah, that's a great thing, right?
Yeah.
Like, what's it? Pain or tragedy plus time equals comedy,
It's
right?
true.
So, I mean, it's not
so
really
true.
a tragedy, but it is a painful thing that's happened to you, right?
Yeah.
How did on this podcast, we try and find those moments in life that suck and how you sort of handled them, because everyone's going to have them. And it sounds like for you weren't expecting this,
Oh my
right?
gosh,
so
no.
Walk us through that day. You said like 2 days before you got that amazing message, right? So you're feeling great.
Well, it was interesting because Jump wasn't in the Pride Parade this year. And this was the first year that we weren't in the parade. And for a few weeks before, I was sort of asking our promo department, why aren't we in the parade? I couldn't figure out like why we wouldn't. And they would say, it's just too expensive this year. And Chorus is having a lot of money troubles, which is not a secret. It's in the news. And so that they just said we couldn't afford it. And I was like, okay. But I just thought it was so weird to have one of the only openly gay morning hosts and not be in the Pride Parade. It seemed like a miss, and I had so many people ask me about it. So when we actually got canceled 2 days after Pride, it's sort of I connected the dot.
Right.
That's why we weren't in the parade, because then the visibility probably would have been even more.
Yeah.
And of course they weren't going to do it before Pride, because then I would have been out there. Guess what happened? So they did it 2 days after. But I really believe this was not a personal decision. It was a corporate numbers crunching thing. And I really feel like they may be second guessing their decision when you look at the backlash coming in. I know I would be if I was in corporate at Chorus. But that day, what happened was our program director came into the studio 15 seconds before we were about to go on air, which was very unusual because they don't come in the studio. If anything, they send you an email saying, hey, let's meet after the show. So right away, Jenna and I looked at each other and we were like, something's up. Like, we didn't think we were going to get fired. We thought maybe they were going to tell us that they were firing somebody else and to like clear out or something like that.
Yeah. Dylan Black's
gone. Gone. Yeah. If I had it my way. Love Dylan. But yeah, so after the show, 9 o'clock, we went up to the boardroom and they said we need to talk to you individually. Jesse first, then Jenna. And our program director took me to a separate boardroom where there was an HR person from Toronto. And they very simply told us the show was going in another direction. We were being let go. When we asked why, they just said restructuring. We pushed for more. They said we can't talk about it right now. It's just restructuring. We'll talk about it in a couple days. I have not heard from them since.
Right.
I knew I wouldn't.
Of course.
And then we saw now they're syndicating an American morning show in Canada's capital. Doesn't seem like the smartest move to me.
That is a bizarre thing to do for sure. And
Yeah.
I mean, I have read all the comments too, and it's backwards of what people want.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I understand there's other decisions, business things, money can't, whatever. But for the direction that I like the world to be going, obviously, is sort of more local things, right? More people that I can see, especially if I can go to Yuck Yuck, see this person tell jokes, and then you can talk me through my drive into work. Like, it's
what
crazy.
You want. And in my almost 4 years on that show, the main thing that was hammered into us was be local. Local is the only thing that's going to save radio in this climate right now, is Sirius and the internet and streaming. And you have to be local. You have to tell people what's going on in their own city. And that's what people wanted. We had times we had to kick subjects and hilarious bits we wanted to do to talk about the birds sitting at Blues Fest, things like that. Like, local stories that people care about. The bear in the Byward Market yesterday. I'm pretty sure Jump was the only station not talking about it.
Wow.
And
why would you even listen to that?
I know. Now, the syndicated show is very highly rated. They go to #1 in all sorts of cities are in the States. So I'm sure, I have no doubt that that's a good show. And I'm great for those hosts, A+. But I just don't think that it's a fit for the Ottawa market. And that's the main question. If I could ask one question, is why they made this decision. Because for the past so many years, they were telling us to go in the opposite direction. Yeah. It's crazy.
Yeah. So how do you handle that? They've told you that, you just get up, walk out of the room?
Yeah. Took my papers. I was in total shock, obviously. And Jenna and I went to her apartment and got drunk on red wine at 9 a.m.
No, that's nice. That's a fun day, for sure.
There was a lot of tears.
Yeah, I bet. Wow. I can remember being cut from teams, and it was sort of the same thing. And my thing always was, thank them. Yeah. And look on their faces when they cut you and you stand up and say, thank you, I'll be watching. I'm a big fan of yours. And you turn around, walk out of the room, and you look, and they're like, oh, well, maybe we did the wrong thing. You know what I mean? And it messes with someone's mind, because I'm assuming they're always assuming you're going to get really sad or you're going to be really mad. Yeah. Right. And to do things like, oh, thank you. You know what I mean? And a lot of times when I was cut from a football team, I was thankful, because it was at the end of a training camp.
You've had enough.
You're like, I'm done. Yeah.
Well, it was a very amicable meeting. Like, they were very praising of our work. They assured us it wasn't personal. We're so talented. They offered to be references. It just came down to money, I think, and wanting to go in this new direction. Yeah. Our ratings had been improving, particularly among females 18 to 35, and that was our goal. Every ratings period, we just wanted to get that subcategory up, and we did, but maybe not fast enough for them. Yeah. And maybe they think this new show will have that effect. We'll see. I guess time will tell.
Yeah. Wow. So, and it's great you had someone to share that with. I know it's funny that it's not great for either of you, but to go through it with another person is very helpful, right? For sure. Because when you experience something in life that's not what you thought was going to happen, or it's a bad thing, if there's somebody around you, especially who's kind of experiencing the same thing, it really helps, right?
Sure does. We were saying that when we were crying into our red wine that day. Like, thank God we have each other, because imagine it was only one of us. Then the other one would feel survivor's guilt, and it's just bad. So
terrible, yeah.
So yeah, very. Me and Jenna, we're like brother and sister at this point. Obviously, when you've been through something like this for the past 4 years, up at 4 a.m. together every morning, you get close quick.
That is close for sure, yeah. And you mentioned Dylan Black, Sandy Sharkey. Like, the community here is just full of great people, right? And I often tell people this: is you need to have friends, but maybe even more important in a business sense, a mentor, someone who you can talk to in situations like that. Yeah. And it seems like you probably have that.
Oh, yeah. The radio community from all over Canada has been reaching out, random announcers I'd never even heard of before, saying they can't believe what happened. And to know there's other people that have lived it, it really makes me feel better. And yeah, legends in this city: Dylan, Sandy, Wicked Wendy Daniels, just had it happen to her earlier this year, after 25 years in the same building.
Unbelievable.
Could you imagine? And she's holding her head high, and she's positive. And so I'm looking at these people thinking, okay, well, I'm not going to get all down on myself now. Right. Yeah. They came out the other side, so I know I can too.
Even when the industry was super strong, that happened, right? Like, there's such a turnover in that business. It's part of who you have to become, right? It's part of the fabric of, we're new and we're moving to another city, and we're just and at the same time, you have to be so mentally strong when that's happening, right? Because then you got to get back on and be that guy again, like
that's it.
It's such a mental struggle,
and it's hard to understand that it doesn't necessarily reflect on your talent, because before I was in the business, I would look at a show, whether on TV, radio, whatever, and got canceled. You think, like they didn't do well, or they're not doing the right thing, or they suck. And that's not always the case. Sometimes there's a lot of other factors at play that and you just get caught in the crosshairs.
Yeah. Oh, you wouldn't have been there three years, right? You wouldn't have been there 3 weeks if people hadn't enjoyed your
whatever
character.
it is.
Yeah, whatever, however you define that.
That hot mess on the radio.
The hot mess, for sure. Yeah. So then you turn to these people, or do they it sounds like they probably called you, right?
Yeah.
Which is a
lot of Facebook
Can you
messages.
imagine being that great a person that you call people?
I know.
That's like, like I look at Dylan Black, and he's just like one of the greatest guys I've ever known, and he doesn't even truly believe that. You know what I mean?
I know.
Like, Dylan, you're like amazing. You spend 300 days of doing charity work, and you're there for this and that. And
he makes the rest of us look bad, let's be honest.
He sure does.
I was talking to him last night.
Away.
He should. Well, I was talking to him.
Hair.
We'll rip it out.
Eyes. Yeah.
I was talking to him last night, and he was like, because I'm panicking about getting another gig, strike while the iron's hot, and I want to work. I live to work. He's like, well, no, take some time off, let this process, take a few weeks, then get back on the horse. I said, Dylan, shut up. You want to take all the good jobs. Stop trying to tell me to sit down.
Doesn't he have them all?
Yeah. Like, no, I'm not sitting down. This is the time to fight and prove to them what a mistake they made.
Yeah. I love the energy and the passion. Whenever someone in my shows energy and passion, they can do anything, right? Like having kids and seeing them sit around and then they find that thing that they get out of bed for, and they ask me repeatedly to do, and that's when I love it. Like I have kids, one kid that plays, two that play instruments, a drum and a guitar, and then he like, has my guitar been fixed yet? Just that to me is like, yes, he wants to play that guitar again. You know what I mean? Like that's and you see that, and that's attractive, right? Like when you see people like that, and you see Jesse's out there and he's doing this and he's doing that, and then that's gonna be the first guy you call when you have something like that, right? And it's so important just to keep busy and just to keep active.
Well, to see that your kids must be exciting too. It's like when you had a Tamagotchi. That's how I can relate to it. And I never knew which Tamagotchi I was going to get. You don't know what it's going to grow up and turn into. You don't know what a Tamagotchi is? No. Oh, you are old, Mark.
48 years old, man. I know.
It was like
Smurfs. I played with Smurfs.
Oh.
Still do.
Okay. Tamagotchi was like a digital pet that you would feed and clean up its poo before iPhones.
It pooed. Sounds terrible.
It does sound terrible. I'm not doing it justice. Yeah. 90s kids understand. Tamagotchis were cool.
Tamagotchi. I got a dog and it poos, but
yeah, me too.
It goes in the woods. Oh yeah, you have that little.
I got two.
Two of them.
Two Chihuahuas.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
combined. They don't even equal the same weight as a regular dog.
Yeah. That's probably like. Do you feed them like cat food? Like, is there little dog food?
There's little dog food.
Oh,
yeah, it's called toy breed dog food.
Oh, is it really inexpensive?
No, it's just regular ions.
But like they probably don't eat it very much, right?
No, they don't eat a lot.
Like my dog compared to my cat, what they eat is ridiculous. Like a dog can eat $60 worth of food a month, and a cat, like I don't even have a clue because you just hardly ever buy a new bag of food.
Does the cat go outside though?
Only when it escapes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
it's probably out there eating mice and birds.
Oh, he's a killer. He'll kill the mice in here. That's why we got him. We had a little bit of a mouse issue. It's an older house, 60 years old. And we got tried everything. We're like, we don't want to put traps out. That's ridiculous and poison the dog, and the kids will eat it. So get a cat, and he does the job, man.
It worked.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
He leaves the kills at the end of the stairs on the carpet, and it's an impressive thing for sure. He doesn't eat them though because we feed him, I guess.
But your food probably tastes a little better.
Yeah, he does take a bite out of them sometimes, and so you have this.
Gross.
Hot mess, I guess would be the term we're using today. And it's kind of gross, yeah, for sure. And I don't think I actually taught him to kill. The first time I found him, he was knocking the thing around, and I just took a hockey stick and I smacked it. And I think that was that's what you're supposed to do.
I'm so glad he used a hockey stick and you didn't get down there and just bite it yourself.
Yeah, no. So, okay. So, is there any hope to be back on the radio?
Yeah. Oh, for sure. I mean, who wouldn't want to be? Being paid to talk, it's like being paid to eat.
Yeah,
who wouldn't want to do it?
Is there any interest in television? Or is that...
Yeah, well, I actually set out. So the part of my funny story of how I ended up on the radio was that growing up, I had the gay accent. Don't know if you can tell. And so that was the thing kids would bully me for a little bit. Oh, Jesse's got a girly voice. Is Jesse gay? Da-da-da. And I didn't...
When did you tell people you were gay?
When I was 17.
Okay.
And I only told people because my mom found a picture of me and my boyfriend at the time that said happy 2 months on it.
Okay, so you were like gay.
Yeah.
And you'd only told like your parents and stuff.
Well, no, my mom found this picture. So I was out partying for Tequila Sunrise the day before the last day of school, and she found this framed picture that I had saved or I had printed to give to my boyfriend on our 2-month anniversary. Because when you're 17, it's like
that's nice.
You celebrate months.
2 months is a long time when you're 17.
And she found this picture, so she called me screaming. God didn't want this for you. She's very religious, and the whole bit. But my older sister, thank God, talked to her, and within 12 hours, my mom had come around and apologized for that and explained it's just that you have a certain trajectory for your kids, and when it doesn't follow that path, sometimes it can be overwhelming for parents.
Without a doubt, yeah.
So she got over it really quickly, and then once my mom knew, it was sort of like I wasn't afraid of anything anymore because she was the one I was most scared of. So then I came out with it at school and told everybody. And once I did, everybody stopped caring. It was like there was nobody wondered anymore. There was no more whispering, is he gay, is he gay? So, but what I like about my story is that I was so insecure about my voice. So I think that's why I went with the crazy hair, and I went to theater, and I thought that theater TV would be my only way of being successful because I could use my face and my expressions and my body. And then when I got the radio job, I thought, wow, isn't this a full circle moment that now my voice, the thing I was most insecure about, is the only thing I have to use. And it's paying my bills.
That is super interesting.
So I love to tell that story. And that's what I mean about sometimes your weaknesses actually turn out to be your strengths.
Do you speak at schools at all?
I have.
You should make that something you do every week, man. That's such an important message. Kids need to hear that. We always think, we live in a world where these messages are understood now, and they don't. And I go into the school and I tell people about how to cope with bad situations and make them the reason why things happen, and that story.
Yeah.
And every time I do, it has effect on people. Every time I do, I get 5 emails, and I know there's 100 others that wanted. It's so important. These are kids. These are people who are brand new and fresh in the world, right? They need to hear that message. And I guarantee you, there's every school, there's like 50 kids just like you, and they're not sure what to do or what to say. And you just saying that right there, that everything got easier once I told people.
It's true.
And that my perceived weakness was my actual strength. That's an amazing message.
It's pretty cool. It's that cheesy thing, right? That you always hear, what makes you different is also what makes you special. But you hear that and you think, okay, but then to hear real life examples like me or like you, it gives something tangible to those messages.
I really think, and you're full of energy and passion in this, you need to contact schools, just like phone.
Well, I'm available. If you're looking for a sassy over the top host, any schools.
So do you have could you go in and give a 45-minute presentation, like a introduction, and then sort of have a message and then like a take home? Is that something you could do?
I would if they're paying me, Mark Hatfield, believe me.
Yeah, they would. They would pay you. Schools have a need for that. There's not many people in the city that do this. It's to the point where I turn down a lot of them because I just don't have the time to do it. And I've done I've done over 800 schools in the past 9 years. Yeah, I've done some schools every year. But those messages just like that are so important to get to people. And it's just because people, like I said, we all we all have these stories. It's the ability to be able to communicate them is what sets us apart. Right. And that's, you obviously have that, and you've had a platform to do it for 3.5-4 years. Right.
How did you stretch yours out into be a full motivational speech? Because I feel like, I could tell that story in 5 minutes. Same with you and your brother. But you have to be able to really flesh it out.
Yeah. Because they say it's like going to a steak restaurant. What people are there for is the meat, but you also have the vegetables and the potatoes and stuff. So there's other messages along the way that, for example, the use of a mentor. I'll mention that. It's not one of my take-home messages, but it's part of my message. And so I tell the story in a way that there are other lessons to be learned. And because you never know what part someone's going to take home, whatever part strikes them. And so there are other little messages that I'm sure when you sit down and write it out. And a story, you tell 3 stories. Okay. So you start with a story to grab their attention, and that will have some sort of a message, and the message usually is that life is great, or everyone struggles, or the time is now to do something. And then you tell them what you're going to tell them, and you've divided it up into 2 or 3 stories, and each one of those stories has some sort of a message, and at the end you say, this is what we just learned through another story. Right? Storytelling is so important. It's what makes people, it touches them. They think of their stories at the same time, and it's something that they can remember. So, cool. What you just told me is like an amazing message, right? Your perceived weakness is your strength.
Yeah.
Once you told people, and that's another message I have too, is just telling people things. People are so worried about what other people are going to think and say. And for years, I never told anybody about my goal, my dream, right? And then when I started telling people, because I'm like, it's in the next couple of years or it's never going to happen, I got to start getting some sort of traction here. I started telling people, and sure, people laughed. They thought I was joking, but other people, like I said, oh, if anyone could do it, it would be you, based on your confidence. And I would take those things. And so that's also also a message that I say is you got to tell people things. You got to write things down.
Write them down.
Write them down, man. That's maybe one of the most valuable tools that you can give to a young person is, should we all have these goals and these dreams floating around in our head until you write it down on a piece of paper?
Yeah.
It's just going to float around in your head forever, man, for sure.
And also be selective, though, I would add, to who you tell, because not everybody's got your back. And, some people want to see you fail. And,
right.
And that's an energy you don't need on your side. So
right.
I'm a big believer in telling, certain people or sharing your good news.
Mm-hmm.
But once it's official, you can broadcast it to the world. But what I'm saying is, like, if I'm going on a big audition, I'm not going to post it on Facebook until it's official.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to jinx it.
Yeah. I don't, in my opinion, you don't need Facebook to live your dreams. You don't.
But just an example.
Yeah. No. And I'm saying it because a lot of people think that that's the sole way of communicating when it's really about face to face. It's about, like, this conversation we could never have had exchanging messages on text, even phone, right?
Yeah,
like it's about getting there and exchanging things. And another one of my messages that's sort of a smaller part is to listen to what everybody has to say, because if someone takes the time to say something to you, it's either what they believe is really going to help you, or, as you said, what they believe is really not going to help you. So you listen to all these things, and then you sit down and you take a quiet moment and you decide, yeah, that's the one that's going to help me. You know what I mean? And then you go through that message, right? Like I had a guy tell me, a guy who was like a brand new football coach, his name is Glenn Constantine, and he helped me out with football and stuff. And right at the really important part, he's hooked me up with certain people, and I could have easily blown this guy's message off. What does he know? He's a brand new football coach. Since that time, Glenn Constantine's become like the most successful university football coach in Canadian history. He's won like 8 national championships as a head coach at the University of Laval, and there's a reason why, right? There's a reason why I could have easily blown that off, because I didn't know he was about to do that. Mm-hmm. But he was so into the football world, and he's so caring about the people and the players around him, that he went out of his way to help me, and that was something that was guaranteed one of the reasons why I achieved what I achieved.
Well, you have those people that need to believe in you, and those are people that usually have had someone believe in them to get to where they are. And that, for me in my life right now, that's Howard Wagman, owner of Yuck Yucks.
Yeah,
huge supporter.
Yeah, without a doubt. I just got a shiver down my spine, because he is that guy too.
Yeah,
for me as well, and a lot of people in the city, and a lot of people don't understand how the owner of a club can be the guy who's making these dreams. I don't think he even understands.
I don't think he does either.
The importance of his decision making.
We probably just ascribe all this to him, and he's like, "No, that's not at all. I'm just trying to make money at the club."
Yeah. Sell more beer. Come on, fellas. But it all has to be handled properly, and there's so many egos, and there's so many things that have to be done accordingly to not destroy someone. Especially, like, we know the comedians, they can be very. They're up there for a reason, right? It's a therapy for everybody. There's no exceptions. It's a coping mechanism. Comedy is, and every one of those people, like you said, has had some sort of dark thing.
It's true.
Even if they don't know it, right?
Yeah.
Because they've coped so well that they use this humor in comedy to get through, and and I think other people benefit from that too, and other people who go to comedy also have these struggles, and they see that, and it's an amazing place for sure, man. And I treasure my time going to comedy clubs. It's
so much fun. For me, it was a little backwards. Like I started doing it with the goal in mind of getting a job hosting something, whether on TV or the radio, and that worked. Yeah. But then because I enjoyed stand-up, I kept doing it, and then that's where I realized that it's therapeutic and all those other things.
Interesting.
But I started for a reason, and now I'm doing it again because I want to find a new job hosting something. Yeah. Comedy doesn't pay a lot unless you're famous.
No, and it's always there for you, right?
But it's always there for you.
It's the guy you can count on. You know what I mean? Like, you get fired from one thing, and you go back and you can do that for sure. And
you control your own show. You don't have to be auditioning. You don't have to read a script. It's all you.
The whole thing is you, man, for sure. That's one of the beauties about it, and it's what I am attracted to it. Like I said, doing the script thing for me is like, well, no thanks. That's somebody else's thoughts and words, going into something.
But comedy, like radio, it's just as fickle. Like, it's just as scary. And what I mean is, you're only as good as your last show.
Yep.
You really are. When you're a doctor, you have a base practice you can always fall back on. But in show business, it's your last ratings, your last show, and you're done.
Yep.
So that's why I think it's so scary. And if you have a bad set, oh God. That's why when I had the radio show, I'd have a bad set at Yuck Yucks, and I'd be like, okay, well, it's fine. I've still got my radio show. I'm not going to ever do stand-up again in my life. But now I don't have that. So all the eggs are back in the stand-up basket.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens Tuesday.
Yeah, that's going to be great. Everybody should go check that out. That's going to be an amazing thing, man. And I know that there's going to be a lot of... Is this your first time on stage since being... restructured or whatever.
Well, no, I had one show last Friday at Stray Dog, Tracy's show at the Stray Dog Brewery.
I've done that.
Which was great. It was fun. But I think this is going to be the first big one once all the news is really set in. Because it took a few days for people back to school this week. They're turning on their radio. Like just this morning, I'm getting messages, people saying, what's going on? Like, where are you? Are you on vacation?
Are you going to talk about it?
A little bit.
Yeah.
I'm going to talk a little bit.
Yeah, you definitely should.
But I'm going to be careful.
I think you should talk. I mean, who am I to say? But what I would love to see is you talk about it and not worry about making people laugh. Just go up.
Yeah.
Obviously you'll do your jokes, whatever. Are you hosting the show?
I'm hosting the show.
Yeah.
Jenna might come too.
Yeah. And at some point, just talk about it. Don't worry about the punchlines and all that stuff because people want to hear that stuff, man. They want to see the emotion. They want to feel that, right?
Well, people are curious about what happened, especially in radio. They're so hush-hush. When something like this happens, it's like, don't address it. Don't look at it. Don't, there's thousands of comments and they're not responding to any one of them. And people are starting to pick up on that. Like, hello, what? You're not going to let us know what happened? So I think you're right. People just want to hear the story. And it's not to bash them.
Nope.
The most bashing thing I have is to say, well, I guess the greatest gig on earth lasted 3.5 years because that was the name of the contest,
that's
right?
Man. Yeah,
greatest gig on earth.
Nothing lasts forever, Jesse.
Nothing lasts forever. And it was the greatest gig on earth. I can't emphasize that enough. Great company to work for. It just sucks the way it ended.
Yeah, no, you haven't bashed them at all. And what about theater? Do you know Steve Love is...
yeah, he's doing something with OLT, isn't he?
Yeah, he's doing... it's like my favorite Christmas. It's a
Christmas Carol?
That's the one...
What's he playing? Scrooge?
No, he's not a Christmas Carol. It's... what's the one... the guy runs around town, he gets in a car accident, and he comes back and...
Oh my God. Miracle on 34th?
No, Mark Hatfield. Come on. It's like totally my favorite Christmas show. It's who's watching on Facebook knows what Steve Love... That's my favorite.
Mrs. Doubtfire?
It's a tall guy. He's the main character. He Mrs. Doubtfire.
I don't know what you're talking about. The Santa Claus?
No.
This has got to be an old story because if it's a theater show, it's going to be old.
It's really old. Yeah, it's black and white. A Christmas Story. No.
We'll just sit here all day until somebody figures it out on
somebody
Facebook.
Somebody say something. What is it called? Steve Love. What are you?
Should we text him? Anyway.
Okay, but so he's doing a Christmas thing, which I am for sure going to.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, it's gonna be amazing. So you see yourself doing that?
Oh, for sure.
You're perfect at that.
Right? It's been years since I've been able to do theater again, like stand up, because all the rehearsals are usually weeknights, 7 o'clock, and that's
what was
when
the
I
last
had to
play
go to
you
bed.
did?
The last play I did was probably in 2014. I worked with the Elizabeth Briere Hospital. They had a troupe of us would come and we would present case studies, like real life case studies about people dying of terminal diseases or
that sounds like a Christmas one too.
Yeah, very happy. And we present these plays to doctors and nurses at the hospital, and then they had to have a discussion on how they would handle these situations. So not so much like theater for the public, but that was the last theater project I was involved with.
That sounds interesting.
It was very cool.
That does sound cool.
Like same-sex rights and stuff. When people aren't married, how do you navigate that when someone's in a coma? And very happy, cheerful things like that.
Yeah. Well, that's a real topic, right? That's a real issue.
Well, it was cool that they would use art in a medical setting to do these case studies and get doctors to think, and so that's what I loved about it. Work together.
Sounds like medicine may be art. You know what I mean? In the same way,
everything's art.
Yeah, everything is art, right? For sure. There was a time when we didn't cut people open and fix them, and someone took that chance. And
we're so philosophical, Mark Hatfield. We did not get stoned before this interview.
No, after. We'll do it after.
Yeah.
That is amazing. Well, that's been an hour, man. And that
really?
That was
already?
That was awesome. Yeah, and you brought good luck because the Zoom recorder was not working until you pulled in the driveway, and I was trying to fix it for an hour, so that worked out. Everything
I bring the magic.
Good. You were. That was great, man. And
well, thank you.
Tuesday, Yuck Yucks with James White. That's going to be quite a show.
8:30, $10, yuckyucks.com.
It's a great price, too.
It is.
I can't afford not to go.
We'll see you there then.
Yeah, thanks, Jesse.
Bye.
That was great. Let's just turn off Facebook.
Bye, Facebook.